Okay. Once again, a very good afternoon, very distinguished board members and chapter executives. You're welcome to the very first event organized by the Society of Petroleum Engineers Abuja section. Of course, this is a leadership workshop, which is aimed at engaging all of our leaders to make us very, very active and ready for the 2023 board year. I want to believe that this year is going to be very engaging as we help all of our registered and professional members to enjoy the best of the Society of Petroleum Engineers. Of course, this initiative started some years ago and has been continued by the current section chairman, led by Engineer Victor Anoche. And I want to say a warm welcome to every board member that has joined today. Of course, the SP is very particular about safety. So let me quick start this event by giving a safety brief. Please, for the course of this event, we advise that you leave your phones on mute, leave your devices on mute so as not to interfere with others during the course of this event. Also, if you're driving, please, we advise that you park your vehicle in a very safe space and engage this leadership workshop. The last of the safety brief is please don't carry your phone, your device to the kitchen so as not to have a gas explosion. I want to believe that we would have a very, very safe deliberation throughout the course of this event. Now, the last information reaching me is that we have so many student chapters that have joined. You are being advised to rename your device using the name of a university first and then your name. So please, for all of our student chapters that have joined, kindly rename your device. Go to the drop-down button below your screen, click on participants, go to rename, and then rename your device starting with your school, and then after your school, we have your name. This will aid us to know the chapters that have joined. So let me start this event by recognizing some of our key dignitaries and of course the speakers that have joined us here today. I'll start by saying a warm welcome to the section chairman of Society of Petroleum Engineers Abuja section. So I would like to hear your voice. Warm welcome to Engineer Victor Anoche. Welcome, sir. And thank you for joining us here today. Section chair, I'd like to hear your voice, sir. Welcome, sir. Okay.
It's asking you to unmute me.
Okay, I've just made him a co-host. Section chair.
Okay, welcome, thank you very much, Akwan. Yeah, thank you everyone for joining in today. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you so much, Section Chair. We also have our program chair in the person of Dr. Ikechukwu Kafo. Welcome, sir. Thank you for joining us here today, sir.
Thank you very much, Akwan. Welcome to everybody joining. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We also have the section director here present, Engineer Aminat and Madami. Welcome, ma'am. We celebrate you, ma'am, and thank you for joining us here today, ma'am.
Thank you very much. I'm glad to be here.
Okay, and of course, like I said earlier on, we have amazing speakers who would do justice to today's event. Of course, let me start by welcoming the very first that joined us today. He will be the first speaker today. Ladies and gentlemen, I speak of a representative from the Society of Petroleum Engineers Nigeria Council, from the council level. Please help me welcome Mr. Udochukwu Akuna. Welcome, sir. Welcome you, sir.
Thank you very much for having me. I'm pleased to be here.
Thank you, sir.
My pleasure.
And of course, another speaker for today, who is the pioneer chief executive officer of the NPCRTI, of course, currently the chief executive officer of the Scale Vision Services Limited. She would be speaking on emotional intelligence in leadership. Ladies and gentlemen, I speak of Engineer Betty Ugona. Welcome, ma'am. We celebrate you, ma'am. Thank you for joining us here today. Engineer Betty? Okay.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you so much, ma'am. I've got the very last speaker who I know would join anytime from now. He is a senior reservoir engineer from ExxonMobil. Of course, he'll be taking us on tips for effective leadership. At this juncture, I want to say a warm welcome to all of our board members here present. Time will not permit me to recognize each and every one of you. Thank you for joining us. And of course, all of our student chapters here present. If I can see the participants, I can see students from NEL University. I can see students from other universities. Please, student chapters, this is a clarion call. Kindly edit your name on the device, starting with your university and then followed by your name. I can see that NEL University have so much executives here present. Thank you so much, NEL University of Nigeria. So of course, we're going to kickstart the very lecture, the events today, by listening to our leader, listening to our boss. I speak of the section chairman of Spe Abuja section. At this juncture, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to give the virtual stage to our section chairman for his welcome address. Gina Victor Anoche, please, the virtual stage is yours.
Yeah, thank you very much, Akban. You are always, you are doing well. So first, let me start by welcoming everyone to today's special event. This is the Spe Abuja Annual Leadership Workshop. And I would like to say that this event was recognized by the Spe International last year when we submitted our annual report to the SPI, and the Spe requested that we come up with a template so that other sections can learn from us. So this event will continue as an annual event for the section. Also, I want to thank our speakers for the opportunity to deliver this very important workshop. Our speakers, as we all know, because I'm sure most of us know them very well, these are professionals in their various areas, and especially in the area of this workshop, they also have good experience in this area. And if we are to pay, we are going to pay a lot. So it's a privilege for us to hear from them. And I want to thank them for providing the opportunity for us to listen to them. And also thanks to our board members and our session director for always supporting us. Also special thanks to our chapter officials. You guys are special. I hope to have another time. In fact, I will have a meeting with you guys very soon, so that I will announce to you the special gift from this session. So I just want us to have an impactful leadership workshop today. Thank you very much. Akban.
Thank you. Like the section chair has just said, he hopes that we would have an impactful leadership workshop. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, we are moving to the course of today's event. The very first speaker is a champion of SPE. Of course, he is with the SPE Nigerian Council. Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, he would be taking us on a very, 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 very key topic, which is effective section and chapter management. He is a manager of known repute. At this juncture, I'll be leaving the virtual stage for the next 15 minutes to Mr. Udochukwu Akuna, who will be taking us on effective section and chapter management. Mr. Udi, the stage is yours, sir.
Thank you very much, Fofonono, and thank you, Abuja Section Chairman, and thank you, members of Abuja Section Board. It's my pleasure to be here to share my thoughts with you and share most valued information from SPE on section and chapter leadership. So I would like to share. Confirm that you can see my slide.
Very well, sir.
All right, thank you. So once again, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, students. We are going to discuss effective section and chapter management of SPE. If we go to the rudiments to understand what we are discussing, that's effective. By effective, what it means is a successful in producing or a desired or intended results. For something to be effective, something is expected of the person who is delivering that. And then management, you talk about a process of dealing with or controlling a thing, a system, an institution, a process. So what we are discussing here is how to effectively manage chapters and sections, which means there is an expected kind of results from us. And permit me to say that I'm glad to hear that SPE International recognized this event. That means it was effective. It's made the required results. Okay. Now, number one, the very first thing we have to consider when you want to have an effective section and chapter management is your board as a team. You must first of all see your board as a team, and you must constitute your board based on SPE international standard. And there are very basic office roles that have been stated by SPE International. For the sections, you have the chairperson, you must have the program chair, then you have the secretary, the membership chairperson, and the treasurer. For the chapters, you must have the president, the vice president, the membership chair, the secretary, and the treasurer. However, you could have other offices like D&I, the web admin, the YPs. These ones are add-on for specific roles. But considering the establishment of sections and chapters, these are sacrosanct. You must meet this requirement. Now you have these officers on your board. You're expected to work as a team to deliver the expected goals of SPE. SPE has a vision, SPE has a mission. You're not gathering together, forming an organization just for being busy. There is an expected process because it was established based on its policy. Another important thing we all have to understand for effective section and chapter management are the resources and the tools of SPE International. These are very rich tools, resources that will guide you from day one to the end of your tenure or of your term. And they are up there on the internet. These resources comprises or they cover operations and guiding governance, the guiding principles. You need to understand why you're in SPE. You need to understand what SPE stands for. You need to understand the things you should do and the things you should not do. And you need to understand the things that are expected of you within your board. Like I said, your board, you should see your board as a team. SPE has a vision that is large, that is broad, and is not personal. So if you carry your board as a team, understand these resources and the tools that are available. At the end of the year, you'll be effective. You have your reports. If I will get to the report, if you have your reports well covered. Talking of the resources and the tools, you also have the finances. Your finances should be in line with the guidelines of SPE when it comes to budgets, your rebates, and all whatnot. I wouldn't go into the details, but I can share the links to the resources. Also, the membership. You're expected to have some certain level of membership performance, growth, returnership. All these are embedded in the resources and the tools. And then we have communications and marketing. SPE has a platform called SPE Informs. And then there are rules and regulations in SPE for your external communication and internal communications. And mind you, SPE is GDPR compliant, that is data protection. There are things you shouldn't do and there are things you should do. This is also part of the tools and the resources within XPE. Then the big one is the events, the DLs, and the activities. This form the core of SPE International, and we carry it down to the council and the sections. And then for you to have effective delivery of your chapter year or your section board year, your events planning, the DL and the activities must be in line with the SPE International establishment. Remember, SPE has a vision, SPE has a mission, and then SPE has strategic policies of establishment. So you're not just going to go out there to form your events, name your events, hold your events, and then deliver that and think that meets the standard or that is effective. And like I said, remember, we were talking about effective, that is successful in delivering the desired output, desired results. All right. Then your activities have to be in line with the naming of the events, the calendar settings. Then at the start of your board year, you are expected to update your officers roster. I don't know if any of you have done that for this year. You're expected to do that. And in some years, you could work with SPE International staff that would give you a portal. You do that by yourself, or you send them an Excel file and they do the upload for you. And then it's expected that your officers they all have their membership renewed. Some of these things are very important. Okay, as you can see on the left flank of my slide, I've mentioned informs. Then you're expected to have access to your membership builder, because it shows you an automated track of your membership strength, the drop in membership, or the fluidity in your membership. Because if your membership is plateaued, that affects your effectiveness. And remember, awards are being given at the end of towards the end of every year. Whatever you do is being recorded. This what I'm showing here is for these sections. For the chapters are also very similar. Then talking of the events, your events have to be carefully planned out based on the stipulated guidelines of SPE International. You don't just plan your events based on whichever way you've learned events in your communities, within your church or your mosque or your local environment. No, there are certain standards that guide your events naming formation, like I did mention earlier. Then for the sections, your distinguished lectures for the year, you're expected to latch on the calendar for the DL of SPE International. They count on your activities. And then sourcing your speakers. The way you source your speakers, your pool of speakers, just like we're having here, it counts. There are speakers you pull from some industries that may not give you that expected, recognition. And then for these sections, you also have your number of energy for me, because it's a key event that you should hold. Like I said, there are events that are expected of you based on the guidelines of SPE International. And then SPE Cares is one of them, and also community services. This, as you can see on the screen, are for the sections. Then for the chapters, it is similar, but it's a little streamlined. You have your chapter events, your chapter advocacy, and then your energy for me as well, which you're expected to participate along with the sections. Okay. Then most importantly, it's your reporting. Your reporting is more important than the activities, just like packaging of a product. you could have a good product, but very poorly packaged. That means the product is not being given the expected attention or the expected recognition of the content of the product. SPE International has a template and a time for your reporting. There are several sections that have come to me in the past and said we did all kinds of very, very excellent programs, from DL to our symposia to workshops, but we did not get an award, presidential award, or any kind of recognition. It all boils down to your reporting. How is your reporting done? Do you do your reporting in line with the SPE International standard? Was your reporting timely enough? Packaging matters. And just like I made mention that SPE is about teamwork, your board, you're working as a team. Ensure that you also work as a team with other sections and other chapters. You interact with them, network with them, and ask them how, especially those who have been able to successfully do their reporting and won awards. You network with them, share ideas. SPE is about ideas, knowledge sharing. So it's not just technical knowledge. So you're expected to share ideas, learn from them. How have you done your reporting? How did you capture the events that you have done in the past? So they would be able to share how they've done that, and that would reflect in your effectiveness in your reporting. Okay. The benefits of SPE, I want to talk about this because in your effectiveness, you have to look at the benefits of SPE, and that should actually inform how you draft your events, how you deliver your events. Know that your target members, your target audience, your target community are expecting networking opportunities from you. They're expecting soft skill developments from you. They're expecting mentorship opportunities, mentee and mentorship opportunities from you. They're also expecting leadership training from you and knowledge sharing. So in order for you to be effective, these benefits of SPE are expected to be embedded in your activities, your events. Do your events provide networking opportunities? You could have events for hangouts. There's one section in SPE Nigeria Council that does what is called handouts. I'm not sure if Abuja section does that. They do hangouts, and you see the young professionals hang out evenings and share technical knowledge and also socialize. Also, some sections, which are Abuja section is one of them, does a leadership development events, and this is one of that. This is one of the events that when you hold them, at the end, your event is termed as being effective. Because SPE is about development, human capacity development, we focus on development of capacity development from secondary school, primary school, universities. So mentorship is important, and mentorship has different cadres. At the section level, you could mentor people at the universities, or mentor people in the secondary schools. And then those of us at the section board, you could have mentors from the industry, the industry leaders. So as we invite and reach out to industry leaders and speakers, your events, your programs should actually be tailored towards this. As we are talking, this is a virtual platform. Yeah, people could find this as an opportunity to mentor, to reach out to potential mentors and potential mentees. Is a bi-directional thing within the section. And knowledge sharing, technical knowledge sharing. Abuja section last year held an event called Annual Technical Symposium, and it was rich and had very renowned speakers which included our immediate past regional director, who is known globally in SPE and in the energy industry, within the energy economic space. So such knowledge that is shared by such an erudite scholar, a professor of known repute, such an event is worth repeating, is worth keeping, is worth building, is worth developing, because it's one of such events that makes your section delivery very effective. In SPE, it's all about capacity development, is all about the visions and missions of SPE. And for us, I don't know if all of us know the visions and missions of SPE. The vision of SPE, I want to read it out, is to advance the oil and gas community's ability to meet the world's energy demands in a safe, environmentally responsible and sustainable manner. And the mission of SPE is to collect, to disseminate, exchange technical knowledge concerning the exploration, development, and production of oil and gas resources and related technologies for the public benefits. Take note, for the public benefit, of which you being an SPE member, if you're not the speaker, whichever information that is shared, technical information, is for your benefits. Okay? And we have a strategic plan in SPE, 3 to 5 year strategic plan in SPE. And if your events fall within those strategic plans, in the end, it is adjudged, it is termed as being effective by the SPE International Awards team, who are going to review your reports. And if you don't know, those 3 to 5 years strategic plan covers lifelong learning. It covers knowledge transfer, membership, and it covers your professional pride. So all your events, all your plannings, all your activities, all your boards do for the year should be strategically structured to cover membership, returnership, and membership growth, not just returnership, but a growth, a positive growth. And also a lifelong learning, which is covered in the knowledge sharing I've spoken about. And also a knowledge transfer. So I don't want to spend more time. I don't know how long have I spent here.
So it's about 15 minutes already.
Oh, all right.
I sent a chat.
Okay then. So thank you very much. I hope I've dealt with the subject matter, and during the Q&A section, I'll be here to answer your questions. Thank you. Thank you, Fofana. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. UD Akuna, for that engaging and very, very, very insightful presentation. Of course, for those that are just joining, we had Mr. UD speak on the effective session and chapter management. Effective session and chapter management. Before we go on to the very next speaker, please, I would like to advise that all of the student chapters have joined. Please rename your device, starting with the name of your chapter, Nell University, Bayero University, or whichever school you belong to. And after that, we have your name. I can see we have students from Bayero University. We have so many students from Nell University. We have students from Futsmina. Thank you for joining. And well, we also have students from Bayes University. Thank you so much for joining. And well, we had Mr. Yudi speaking. Another of a speaker joined. We speak of a senior reservoir engineer from ExxonMobil, Engineer Temi Tope Oshuntuyi. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us here today. Engineer Temi Tope, you could just hear your voice before we continue to introduce the next speaker. Engineer Temi?
Thank you, everybody. Glad to be here.
Okay, thank you, sir. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, our very, very next speaker is the Chief Executive Officer of Scalvation Services Limited. She is the pioneer Chief Innovation Officer of the NNPC RTI Limited. Of course, she will be doing us an amazing lecture on emotional intelligence in leadership. At this juncture, I would like to welcome Engineer Mrs. Betty Ugona to take the stage on this, of course, for 20 minutes. Ma'am, the stage is yours.
Good morning once again, everyone. Please permit me to share my screen.
Okay, ma'am, go ahead. Permission has been given.
Okay. Am I being heard, please?
Yes, we hear you, ma'am.
Okay. Good morning, everyone.
But you can't see your screen. Your screen is not sharing yet, ma'am.
Oh, really?
Akman, ensure that you've given her the right to share.
Yes, sir. She's a co-host. All co-hosts can share.
Okay, that's true.
I'm sorry.
Can Akman share from his end? I think
okay,
Akman
that's fine.
Have the slide.
Please let him share it because so that we don't, I don't know what's happening. Okay, I think I've got it. Are you okay? Hello?
Yes, you can see. Oh, just went off again, but I
was the one sharing, so I've stopped sharing. I was the one sharing the one I had.
Oh, okay, please. Okay, I thought I was the one that succeeded. Okay, please, you can go ahead, Akman. Okay. Good morning, everyone. The sector chair, Engineer Victor, and chair, the program chair, and my very good friend, Amina, the sector director. Permit me to stand on all existing protocol as I make my presentation. I want to appreciate the privilege given to me to make this presentation. I'm not taking it for granted at all. Because the presentation outline, we take the following patterns. After the introduction, I will explain to us what emotions are, the functions of emotions, why emotions, and why do we need intelligence to address emotions, and then what is emotional intelligence and the rest. The next slide, please. You will all agree with me that we are in a very, very vocal world, which is where the V stands for volatility, the uncertainty, the complexity, and ambiguity. Especially after the pandemic, things are still very, very hazy. And then we are experiencing that also here in Nigeria. So leaders are facing problems that are unfamiliar and poorly understood. So at a time like this, when people are becoming very, very aggressive, allowing their emotions to rule their thoughts and actions, what leaders actually need at this moment is emotional intelligence, which will help them to relate with their employees, customers, and associated stakeholders in a manner that resonates with their needs, their unmet needs and desires in order to secure their loyalty and trust that will lead to high performance, create sense of ownership that breeds innovation, and ultimately growth in the business bottom line. Next slide, please. So let's start with what is emotion? Why is emotion so important? The Oxford Dictionary defines emotion as natural instinct states of the mind, deriving from one's circumstances, mood, or relationship with others. We have two types of emotion, the positive emotion and the negative emotions. And the positive emotion, as clearly as shown in the slide, involves the love we express to one another, appreciation, happiness, hope, being very, very enthusiastic in what we are doing, the confidence we exude, showing and expressing gratitude, being patient while relating with people, trusting people because of their loyalty, and being optimistic. While the negative emotions are the fear of the unknown, fear of the uncertainties, anger, guilt, depression, jealousy, resentment, envy, frustration, shame, regret, sadness, worry, and anxiety. So these are different emotions as shown in this slide as well, that we exhibit at every moment of the day. It's either you are exhibiting the positive emotion or the negative emotion. Next slide, please. So what does it take to control these emotions, and what are the functions of these emotions? First of all, the emotion that we exhibit at every second of the day triggers us to move and take actions, whether negative actions or positive actions. It also motivates people or motivates us to engage in actions that are important for survival. Assuming if you are just walking and somebody raises his or her hand to hit you, the very prompt action you will take is to run, because you don't even know the person's motive for doing that. So it motivates you to engage in actions that enables you to take necessary steps for survival. Then it also gives us the ability to adapt to certain circumstances and respond in appropriate ways to survive, especially being very, very agile and adaptive to change. And then it also gives us the sense of color, expression of emotions through art, poetry, and literature that add colors to our lives. Next slide, please. So why emotions? If we don't exhibit emotions or express our emotions, we will be like robots. I hope we all agree to that. So it is the feeling and emotions, our likes and dislikes, that give our lives meaning. And that makes us happy or unhappy, either fulfilled or dissatisfied. And to a large degree, decide our course of action. It either triggers us, to do things, or do things for survival, or motivates us to take actions that add value to what we are doing already. However, for the emotions that we express, whether negative, positive, or negative, it takes intelligence to know when, how, and it takes intelligence to know when, how to react and act in order to make meaningful decisions for problem solving and creativity. There are 4 major types of intelligence that are used to address emotions once they rear their ugly heads. And this intelligence, we have the intelligence quotient. That's the one that has to do with education. You have the emotional quotient, which is the emotional intelligence that we are going to dwell on. And then you have the social quotient, which borders on relationship. And then you have the adversity quotient. So today we are discussing about emotional intelligence in leadership. According to Daniel Goleman and the American psychologists who popularized the concept emotional intelligence, he described the emotional intelligence as the ability to understand, manage your own emotions and those of people around you. People with a very high degree of emotional intelligence know what they are feeling, and they have control over this, what their emotions mean, and how these emotions can affect other people. because they know that people see things differently. People see things from different perspectives, and people have their different baggages, which you as an individual don't have control over. So a highly emotional, intelligent fellow know how to control his emotions and also manage other people's emotions. They understand emotions in very positive ways to relieve stress, communicate effectively, and empathize with others. The next slide, please. So what are the components of emotional intelligence according to Daniel Coleman? First of all, when they started this, they have 5 components of emotional intelligence: the self-awareness, the self-regulation, motivation, empathy, and social skill. And these are described at us. The self-awareness is the ability to recognize and understand your own moods, your own emotion as a person, and also your own drives, your weaknesses, and your strengths. You know, the awareness of our strength makes us modest, and we are dangerous when we are not conscious of our responsibility for how we behave, think, and feel. And what is the hallmark? How do you identify somebody that operates on the basis of his own understanding of himself or herself? The person is very, very self-confident. The person is very, very realistic. He's very, very ability. He has the ability to identify his own weakness and strength and consciously and intentionally work on them. Then self-regulation, the ability to control or redirect disruptive impulses and moods. The propensity to suspend judgment, to think before acting. This is all about self-control. By constant self-discipline and self-control, you can develop greatness of character according to David Plesser. And what is the hallmark? Trustworthiness and integrity. Comfort without ambiguity, openness to change. Then you have the motivation, a passion to work for reasons that go beyond money or status. This motivation acts like fuel that pushes you to do things ordinarily that you will not be able to do. It's a strong drive to achieve optimism, even in the face of failure. It gives you the strength and the strength for organizational commitments. Next slide, please. Then empathy. Empathy is the ability to understand the emotional makeup of other people and then feel what they are feeling. Like we always say, put yourself in somebody's shoes so that you will see how that person is hurting. It is a very important skill in treating people according to their emotional reactions. And we know the Holy Book says, love your neighbor as you love yourself. The hallmark is that the person with empathy will have the expertise in building and retaining talent, cross-cultural sensitivity, service to clients and customers. When you show deep empathy towards others, their defensive energy goes down and positive energy replaces it. And that's when you get more creative in solving problems. And this was stated by Stephen Covey. Then we have the 5th one, which is the social skill. And this borders on relationship, ability to find common group and build rapport. A vast majority of people are inexpressive, so you must be able to identify this within your team and make it very, very easy for them to contribute, because you have to get into their minds to know what they want to say at every particular time. So in other words, it is your responsibility as an emotionally intelligent leader to ensure that the atmosphere is very, very cordial for those that don't know how to express themselves to come out and then provide their own contributions to the team. The hallmark is effectiveness in leading change. Very, very important. So these 5 components of emotional intelligence were later distilled into 4 domains, which crystallized to 12 competencies. And I'm going to round them up together. The 4 domains of emotional intelligence which led to 12 emotional competencies. The self-awareness, we have already discussed that, which is the core of everything. It describes your ability to not only understand your strengths and weaknesses, but to recognize your emotions and the effect they have on you and your team performances. Then the self-management refers to the ability to manage your emotion, particularly in stressful situations, and maintain a positive outlook despite setbacks. Leaders who lack self-management tend to react and have a harder time keeping their impulses in check. And then the third one is the social awareness. While it is important to understand and manage your emotions, you also need to know how to read the room. Like I always tell my children, watch the weather. Before you say anything, before you attack people, watch the room. Ensure you understand where the person is coming from. So social awareness describes your ability to recognize others' emotion and the dynamics in play within your organization. You must know everything about the organization and then how they play their visions and their values. Leaders who excel in social awareness practice empathy. Then the last one is relationship management, which refers to your ability to influence, to coach, to mentor others, and resolve conflict effectively. Next slide, please. So we come to the competencies. Now, what is competence? Competence is a skill needed to perform a role or task. There are two types of competence. The threshold competence, which is what you have already. It's like your certificates. Like they say that your certificate can take you to the door of your employment, but what keeps you there is your the amount or the measure of emotional intelligence that you have, which is where you will develop your distinguished competencies. And that is what will separate you from other people. Now, under these competencies, we have 12 of them, and they are grouped under the 4 domains of emotional intelligence. So the first domain we mentioned, if you recall, we mentioned self-awareness. And then under self-awareness, the competency there is emotional self-awareness. Emotional self-awareness is the ability to understand our emotions and their effect on our performances. You realize how your feelings affect you and how well you are doing. This is very, very important for a leader, especially the board members and top executives of every establishment. You must be able to put your emotions in check. So the next competencies fall under the self-management. And under there we have 4 competencies. The first one is the emotional self-control. And this is the ability to keep your disruptive emotions and impulses in check, to maintain your effectiveness under stressful or even hostile conditions. This is also known as emotional balance. You can recognize disruptive emotions like fear, anxiety, anger, and find ways to manage them. This skill or this competency is very, very important. Why? Because we are operating in an environment where you don't have control over how people relate and how they express themselves, because you don't know what they're coming with and you don't have control how they respond to what you expect them to do. So when certain things happen around you, especially people busting out or not understanding even the way you're presenting things, it is entirely your responsibility to control your emotions. Then adaptability is another competency under self-management. This is the ability to be flexible, handle change, and then juggle multiple demands and adapt to new situations with new ideas or innovative approaches. It means being focused on your goals, but easily adjust according to the winds of change. The next one is achievement orientation. This is very, very important as well. You must be able to you must have passion to meet or exceed a standard of excellence, constantly looking for ways to do things better, setting challenging goals and taking calculated risks. You must be optimistic, and you must be someone that will always fuel the path of success to your team. The next slide, please. The next slide, please. Then you have the empathy, ability, the social, that is the third one, being the social awareness under the fourth domain. The empathy is the competency under social awareness. This is the ability to sense others' feelings. Like I explained earlier before, you must be able to put yourself in somebody's own shoes so that you can feel how the person is feeling and be able to empathize. With empathy, you sense unspoken emotion. You listen attentively to understand the other person's point of view, and then the terms in which they are thinking about what is going on. Empathic leaders are able to get along well with people of different backgrounds and cultures and values, and also to express their ideas in way, allow them to express their ideas the way the other person they will understand. This empathy competency is very, very important for leaders. And I just want to tell a small story to buttress this empathy. A child of 13 years old, a little girl of 13 years old that have never had the experience of menstruation, woke up early in the morning and was feeling pain. Unfortunately, her mother could not decipher what was wrong with her. And because of the exigencies of life, frustration, and everything, with her own baggage of worries and anxiety, she lashed on this girl, calling her names, "You're lazy, get up and let's go to school." And the girl dragged herself up to go to school. Her mom abused her seriously from home until they got to school. Unfortunately, they were late. And she started raining abuses on her. "You made me to come late, therefore, you are going to trek from the gate to the assembly hall or arena." The security man on his own side joined the mother in abusing the child. "Run! Can't you see that the assembly has started?" The girl was so frustrated because she could not even describe what was happening to her. By the time she got to the assembly, the disciplinarian was there, to put those that came late aside and gave them serious punishment. Recall that this girl was in pain, but she could not describe what was wrong with her. Emotions, negative emotion all over her. Her mother was exhibiting negative emotion. The security man was frustrated, exhibiting negative emotion. And then the disciplinarian did not have the comfort to assess what was wrong with the girl. He punished her. And by the time the girl got to the classroom, the teacher has already started teaching, and the teacher was infuriated. A lady, for that matter, who would have understood, "Oh, this young girl, what must have happened? This is not her usual self." However, she allowed negative emotion to override her judgment, and she lashed on the girl. By the time she started punishing the girl, the people, the fellow student noticed that her dress was stained with blood. And the girl was so embarrassed because that was her first time and she was not prepared. And the teacher, instead of taking her aside, to advise her on what to do or to clean her off, she started abusing her that she's a very dirty girl who is not able to take care of herself. And that affected that girl's emotion, psyche, and self-esteem throughout her stay in that school. So you can imagine that. Now, assuming if her mom, when she woke up in the morning and saw how her daughter was feeling, empathize and show some love. All the stage gates of the emotional trauma that this young girl encountered will have been avoided. So the next one competency is the organizational awareness, which is still under social awareness domain. And this is the ability to read a group's emotional currents and power relationship. When you get into an organization, even in school, it is entirely your responsibility. Please, next slide. Okay, it is entirely your responsibility to study the group and know what oppose in that group so that you will be able to key in and then relate appropriately. It is the ability to identify influencers, network, and then the dynamics that matter in making decisions. A leader who can recognize networking opportunities and read key power relationships will do a better job at leading. Such leaders not only understand the forces at work in an organization, but they also guide values. They also guide values and unspoken rules that operate among the people. Then the last domain, which is the relationship management, has about 5 competencies under it. The influence, which is the ability to have positive impact on people, ability to persuade and convince people to gain their support. You must be strong in influence competencies so that you'll be able to persuade your team members to do things and then get a better result. Remember, leadership is the act of getting work done well and profitably through other people. Then you have the coach and mentor, the ability to foster long-term learning or development of others. You must indulge or you must get yourself involved in self-development because you cannot give what you don't have. So by giving feedback and support, you have a genuine interest in helping people develop their strengths, develop further their strength, and also improve on their weaknesses. You give timely support and constructive feedback. So the next one is the teamwork. This is the ability to work with others toward a shared goal, participating actively, sharing responsibility, and contributing to capability of the team. You empathize and create an atmosphere of respect, helpfulness, and cooperation. Then you have the conflict management, ability to help others through emotional or tense situations, to tactfully bring disagreements into the open and to define solutions that everyone can endorse. Please, next slide.
Okay, I wanted to remind you that we are out of time though, or you can round up, Ma.
Okay, I'm rounding up. Sorry. I told Victor, emotional intelligence is not what we talk about in 15 minutes anyway. So what is emotional intelligence for a board member and how can it be developed? We have 4 C's that all board members and top executives must be mindful of if they are to continually wear the cloak of emotional intelligence and lead effectively. The first boardroom skill for improving your emotional intelligence is your competence. I've already described 2 types of competencies. There are 2 types, I've already said that. You have the technical competency and then you have the social competence. Then the next one is character. Once you have developed your foundation, use your social competency, self-awareness, and self-regulation to demonstrate your character. You should be the last to speak. In the boardroom, you must learn how to control yourself, listen empathically, solicit other points of view, and be the most prepared, even though you don't talk that most. The added benefit of showing good character and embracing the opinions of others is that it leads to better business results. Next slide, please. Hello. Then you have the third one is the third C is the courage. There are two important parts of courage to become emotionally intelligent: motivation and empathy. I've already described what motivation is. You must be self-motivated, gearing towards goal. You must be goal-oriented and positive looking. Then the empathy, I've already discussed that. Then the fourth C is the chemistry. The final piece of improving your emotional intelligence at the boardroom table is using your social skill to improve your board chemistry. Social skill is the ability to manage and influence others' emotions effectively. It is a component of competence, character, and courage. It brings together communication, persuasion, building rapport, conflict management, change management, teamwork, and leadership. This means being able to establish positive relationships with other board members, getting their trust, and knowing how to balance when to be assertive with when to be a team player as well. Next slide. Let me just go to the conclusion. Sorry. Next slide, please. So in conclusion, in crisis situation characterized by volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity, as we are currently experiencing in the world today, leaders are facing problems that are unfamiliar and poorly understood. The resultant effects of the pandemic that led to high stress, disorientation, creative condition, emotional imbalance, and aggressiveness have placed extraordinary demands on leaders and in business and beyond. What leaders need at a time like this is not a predefined response plan, but behaviors and mindsets that are consolidated and emotional intelligence that will help them prevent them from overreacting to people's dispositions like mistakes and errors, and help them look ahead. Leaders need skills like emotional intelligence that will help them relate with their employees, customers, and associated stakeholders in a manner that resonates with their needs, unmet needs, and desires in order to secure their loyalty and trust that will lead to high performance, great sense of ownership that brings innovation, and ultimately growth in the business bottom line. Finally, it is important to note that as a board member and a top executive, you must consistently and intentionally wear the cloak of self-awareness. Being self-aware is being conscious of your thoughts, behaviors, and tendencies. I often come across board members that lack self-awareness at the boardroom table, too busy talking and not doing enough listening. Building and developing your emotional intelligence is one of the most important and challenging tasks that you will undertake in your board career. By embracing the 4 C's of boardroom emotional intelligence skills, competency, character, courage, and chemistry, you will be able to advance your board journey and elevate your board effectiveness. Thank you so much for listening. I'm sorry for taking more than the time allotted to me. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Engineer Betty, for that well-planned presentation. And I want to believe that we all have enjoyed this session. I know we have questions. We have so much questions on emotional intelligence. And of course, the very first speaker, Mr. UD, on section and chapter management. So please, if you have any questions, please, we advise that you put them on the chat box, please. Immediately after the last speaker would speak, which is Engineer Temi, we would give you an opportunity to read out the questions. We'll read out the questions you have dropped in the chat box. So please, if you have any questions, do yourself a favor by dropping them in the chat box, and then we'll group them one after the other and respond to them as the session goes on. Of course, we're switching gears immediately to the very, very next speaker. He will be doing justice to tips for effective leadership. Tips for effective leadership. Today is all about leadership. So of course, we should know the few tips, the many tips to have an effective leader, to be an effective leader, both at the chapter level and of course, the section level. At this juncture, I would like to call the senior reservoir engineer of ExxonMobil, of course, a coach, a trainer, Engineer Temitope Oshunti, to take the stage for the next 20 minutes, sir. Thank you, sir. Engineer Temi, the stage is yours.
Thank you very much. Yeah. So can you confirm I have 20 minutes?
Yes, sir. 20 minutes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so good to see everyone, and I'm happy to be here. Of course, Spe Abuja is home for me too, so I'm really glad to share with you today. Let me know when you can see my screen, please.
We can see it, sir. We can see it.
Okay, you can see it. Okay, so we'll be talking about tips for effective leadership for the next 20 minutes, and our time is already counting. I promise not to take more than 20 minutes, except that if I will take less. And it's going to be a fun one within the 20 minutes. We are going to learn a lot, and we are also going to have tips that we can apply in our daily lives, especially as we govern Abuja section and the chapters under Abuja. Okay, so before we go ahead, it's good one to have some, slight icebreaker. Despite the fact that it's online, we can still try to have fun. So I will start with a game that I call Guess Who. Unfortunately, there is no reward or monetary reward, but at least you can just participate. So you will see some questions coming up after the slide. Yours is to guess who you think that person is on the Abuja section board that could have that profile or that could be that kind of person. So I will just do for 3 people, but there is no time to get through everybody. So are we ready? Type yes in the chat box if we are ready. If you are ready for the icebreaker, type yes. Yes. It's good to see that. Okay, so let's go on. Yeah, first question here. This person says, my best food is beans and plantain. The person also says, my favorite hobbies are playing basketball, reading, and networking. And last but not the least, this person says, the first country I traveled to is the UK. Wow, that's good. Who do you think this person is on the board of Abuja section? Who do you think this person is? I'll give you 10 seconds. 1, 2, any takers? 3, nobody yet. 4, 5. Who do you think this person is? 6, 7, 8. I can't see any results yet. 9, 10. Okay. And the answer is Abdurafi Egbeyemi, Assistant Secretary. So who got it? Wow, nobody got it. You said Amina, Section Director. Sorry. Okay, let's see if you get the next one. Okay. Next, we have this person says, I don't have a role model, but I admire Elon Musk a lot. Who doesn't admire Elon Musk? After a stressful day, I watch movies and do social media. That's good. Then my dream job is to be a data consultant. Who is this person on the Abuja board? Who is this person on Abuja board? Did someone say Victor, Maria, Chisom? Okay, in 5 seconds, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And the answer is, of course, section chair, Victor. Some of you got that. That's nice. At least you all know your section chair to an extent. Okay, last but not the least, this person says, I joined SP in 2018. This person also says, I read self-help books during my leisure time. And finally, a few fun childhood memories I have are road trips and dancing at birthday parties. Who is this person? You have 10 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, nobody got that. And the answer is, of course, the NI chair, Zalifat Alidu. A round of applause for everybody that participated. So I can see that you only know your section chair. It's good to know more about others that you work with. It makes your life and work easier. Okay, don't worry, we have 15 minutes more. I will still have time for a lot to learn in 15 minutes. Okay. Whenever I talk to people about leadership, there is one concept I always try to remind people about. And it's the 3 questions that are the mind of followers whenever they see you as a leader. You see, no matter where you live, no matter what your religion is, no matter what your competency is, no matter your occupation, no matter who you are, if anybody can answer these 3 questions whenever your name comes to their mind, you are definitely their leader. They see you as leader, whether you are a parent, whether you are a secondary school boy, whether you are a graduate, whether you work for oil and gas, no matter who you are. People that can answer these 3 questions, and your name will come to their head, you are automatically their leader, and you lead them. In other words, as you try to lead people, be the answer to these 3 questions for people. That way, it's easier for you to fulfill your purpose as a leader. And what are these 3 questions? The first one is, do you care about me? Right? Do you care for me? As a leader, you should be able to care for people, because nobody will actually come to you if they think that you can't care for them. If they think that you as a leader, all you think about is yourself and your position and your eccentric, they will only work for you just because of their paycheck or because they just have to work for you. They will not work for you with their heart. They will not work for you beyond closing time, because to them, you are just there to make them work. But when they know that you sincerely care about them, anytime they have issues, they will always come to you. Okay. Another question is, can I trust you? As leaders, section chairs, section board members in the sections, chapter president, chapter executives, people need to be able to trust you, because when you're in a leadership position, or even as a human being in any sphere of life, you will have access to information that to an extent are not for everybody. You can imagine if Victor told me something today, and the next time he sees someone from another section, he's hearing it on the street. Do you think he will trust me? Do you think next time he will share anything about himself with me? So as a leader, you need to make sure that people trust you. Part of trusting you is for them to be able to come to you, share their innermost parts with you, and you don't go avoid divulging unnecessary information, right? Because they see you as confident. They see you as being able to solve their problem, and they trust you that you will not fail them. Okay. Last but not the least is, can you help me? On the streets, like one popular musician will say, will you help? If you can't really help me, then why should I come to you? The reason why you're on this call today is because we believe that the 3 speakers on this call today, we can help you in terms of managing your section and your chapters. We can help you in terms of emotional intelligence that will help you build your chapters and sections better. We can help you in terms of building your leadership capability during your board year. So people will not come to you if they know that you can't help them. One of the things you must know today is that nobody goes to a leader or admits that someone that is not better than them leads them. Okay. So make sure as you go through your leadership journey through this 1 year, of course, it's less than 1 year, you're already probably 8 months remaining. Make sure that people can say to themselves, whenever I think of Madam Amina, for instance, your past section chair, I know that yes, she cares about me. I know that yes, I can trust her. I know that definitely she can help me in some areas when I need her help. And you see my leader, of course she is. So that is how people think about you in these 3 spheres. Even if it's unwritten, if you don't read it anywhere, don't see it anywhere, at the back of people's mind, this is what they think about. Now, there are different things about leadership. There are a lot of things about leadership that we can talk to. In fact, the concept I'm introducing you to today is a week-long training, 5 days, 8 hours, 40 hours. But even in 2 minutes, in 1 minute, we can always learn a lot. So I'll use the next 10 minutes or less to go about influence in leadership. Whenever I'm told to define leadership, I tell the people that leadership is influence, nothing more, nothing less. And by influence, I don't mean TikTokers or social media influencers, but look at it this way. Anybody that can influence you is your leader. And what people try and do as leadership is to help take you to where you want to go, to influence you, to take you to where you never think you will get to. Leaders see before others see, right? Leaders see a vision before others see. Leader leads. And part of leading is essentially influence and nothing else, nothing more. But one thing we need to realize is that there are levels to everything. The same way there are levels to leadership. You and your colleague can be in the same class, in the same GSS1. You both promote to GSS2, but you know that there is a guy in GSS1 that is fourth position, that there is a third position, and both of them actually got to GSS2, but one is still better than the other. One still has a higher level of awareness and smartness or academic than the others. The same thing with leadership. We might all be leaders, but there are different levels of leadership that we need to climb. And the more you climb this level of leadership, the easier it is for you to lead. The more followers you have, the more influence you are able to have at the end of the day. Essentially, what am I trying to tell you today is the higher you go in these levels of leadership, the more influence you have with people. Okay, now let's look at it. We have 5 levels of leadership, according to John C. Maxwell. John C. Maxwell happens to be one of my mentors. Okay, so the first level is what we call positional leadership. You see, everybody most times starts with positions when it comes to leadership, but don't just stay there. As you are all here now, yes, you are on the board, you are of the section, of the chapter, because you have a position. But guess what? You really don't need a position for you to be a leader. But majority of the time, most people start as positions, okay? And that's because someone or a group of people have recognized that you have the capacity, you have the ability to lead, so they give you position. But the mistake we should not make is to rely on our position to work with people. You see, whenever you keep referring to, don't you know I'm your section chair? Don't you know I'm the D&I chair? Don't you know I'm your section secretary? Don't you know I'm just a chapter president? With people, you are already losing your position and your influence over people. Because people that rely on position to totally work with people, they devalue them. They look down upon them. They see themselves as being superior. They see themselves as the boss rather than a leader that is supposed to work side by side, hand in hand with them. They see themselves as having rights over responsibilities. So when any benefits come to the section or the chapter, they see themselves having rights to take majority of it rather than their responsibility to share with people and to make sure that people are able to get better due to their position. And not only that, people that rely on position to work with people, you will only receive people's hand and not their heart or mind. People will just watch clock with you and say, you know what, it's 8 or 2 o'clock. Once it's 2 o'clock, I'm out till tomorrow. And essentially, that is what happened in a lot of corporate world, because people just following you because their next paycheck depends on you. If not, they're out of the window. And one thing I like NGOs with, especially Society of Petroleum Engineers, is that a lot of people don't work because of their position. They work truly because they want to lead. Nobody gets paid. We are all volunteers for your sections, for your chapters, and people still need to work with you. So don't rely on your position for people to work with you. Right? Find other creative ways to make sure that you get people to work without you mentioning that I am the head of this house. The moment you say, don't you know I'm your husband? Don't you know I'm your wife? Don't you know I'm your father? Then you're already losing your leadership. So don't work with people just because you have that position and you hold their next paycheck or you hold their next meal, or you can fire them from your board or section. Okay. So as you have your position, you need to move to a next level with people that we call permission. Permission is the second level of leadership. And you can't lead people until you actually like them. That's what permission is all about. You cannot lead people until you actually like them. Because people are social beings. They are social animals, as you all know. I'm sure some of us that has help or we've heard this joke a lot of times. In Nigeria, for instance, whenever you employ a new driver or a new housemaid, or you even employ someone at your place of work, one of the first things they will tell you is that my great-grandmother died. You have to go and do the burial. 1 week they are off, trying to people use it as a method of extorting money from people. Do you know why those lies are easy? It's because you are not on permission level with people. Permission level means that aside your position, you move to people and try to know them. You know their family, you know their spouse. As you work with them, you know their daughter, you know their son, you know about their family. Then it's very difficult for them to come tomorrow and say their child is sick when I actually know your child and I know the school he or she attends. Because the moment you do that, the next conversation you will goof. It would be very difficult for you to come and just say, oh, we need to go on back. I need to go and attend to my spouse because he's sick. Why? I know your spouse. We even saw 2 days ago, or we can even invite her, I can't tell Madam Anumina, for instance, that my wife is not feeling fine. She has my wife's number. They will always talk at some point in time, but she probably will call her and say, sorry, I heard you are sick. Permission level makes it easier for you to work with people. It builds trust with people. Not only that, every leadership position has its faults. When you're on permission level with people, some people fear to go to permission level with people because they feel that they will take them for granted. They might see them as too soft. But you need to balance the care and the candor of permission level. So not just rely on your position, but know your section members, know your chapter members. The more you know about them, the easier the work becomes. Number 3 on this list is production. You see, one thing I like about production is that even a blind man can see the results. A deaf man can hear on the streets that you are productive. So when you make things happen, it separates actual leaders from wannabes. I like this particular comment that says, when you are winning, nothing odds. And it's true. And the same thing when you are losing, everything odds. So when you are highly productive, when you know your job and when you do your job well, you will see the results and nothing hurts. You will see how people will definitely come to you, ask for your help because they can see the results. So make sure that whatever the position you are holding in your chapters, in your section, you deliver. So as we move from position to permission, always remember that you are here to deliver for people to see results, but at the same time, don't drive them crazy. I've been in positions where I've driven people crazy because of being highly productive. Then I had to, over time, I learned that I need to make sure that I come to their level and not drag them or drive them too much, because you might be too energetic for some people. You might also have to watch that. But when you are productive, everybody gravitates towards you easily. The 4th level is people. This is where I usually want most people to be. At least minimum, strive for this. People development. This is when you start raising other leaders. There is no position I am, whether at work or at home or with SPE, Maths for Life, everywhere that people know me. I always make sure that within a very few short time, I raise someone else that can do that work, at least 80% the way I would do it. Well, if in worst case 70% that I can deliver. That way I'm able to raise more people, so that I will be able to do other things. Maths for Life, when we do competitions, I'll be in my house sipping my tea and coffee, and we have people in different states holding tournaments at the same time, and I don't need to be there. That's because I've been able to replicate myself. So at this level, you also try to, as much as possible, to replicate yourself. It helps a lot. And Pinnacle is one of those that I dream to achieve one day. And Pinnacle is just simply put, if you are looking at Pinnacle leadership, a great example will be the former president of South Africa in his days before he died. Okay. Nelson Mandela was so good that anywhere he goes, whether from political industry that we know him to any other industry, is well known. There are people like that. They can move from oil and gas. When they go at the banking sector, everybody knows them. That is the pinnacle. You have moved from just your oil and gas sector to other sectors in the world, and people still know you and still have influence. In other words, you're able to transfer your influence by creating level 4 leaders. So I hope I've been able to get one thing or the other, and we've tried to know that there are ways you can improve your level of leadership through influence. My hope is that before this section runs out, I'm in talk with council that there is a way that we can go through. I can go through sections to try and talk about leadership at least for a whole day, or personal development, because I believe a one-on-one session, a full day physical session will do us more good than just a few minutes of online. Thank you everyone for listening, and you can listen to the audio later to get more insight, and I'm open for questions. Thank you.
Wow, amazing. I thought I would see some virtual round of applause for our very last speaker. I'm not seeing any comments, any takeaways, and all of that. Thank you so much, Engineer Temi, for this amazing session on leadership. Ladies and gentlemen, of course, we have heard from amazing speakers. Of course, the very first speaker spoke on chapter and section management. It made us understand the tools, the things you should handle in order to run your chapter and your section very well. Of course, even if you know all of these tools, if you know all of the informs and what to do to win the Presidential Chapter Award, how about managing people around you? The next speaker now came about and spoke on emotional intelligence, how to manage your co-leaders, and of course, every other person in the section, and of course, the chapter level, emotional intelligence in leadership. And of course, the very last speaker did justice on the tips for effective leadership. Of course, position, permission, production, people, and of course, pinnacle, which are the 5 levels of leadership. I want to believe we have so many questions for the 3 speakers. And so please, I would like to ask that the 3 speakers kindly turn on their videos so that our amazing panelists, our amazing exco's can see your face while you respond to their questions. So please, I'm reading the questions in the chat box. I'm going to read the questions in the chat box in the next few minutes, 10 minutes for questions and answers. And after that, we would end the event. So questions, drop the questions. So while we are waiting for people to type their questions, we see that our section director is here. Engineer Aminat Damadami would like to hear from you while we wait for a few questions in the chat box. Engineer Amina, any remark?
Good evening, everyone. Actually, no, because I didn't know I was going to make a remark, but well, I can just say a few words. I would like to thank all our speakers, our resource persons, who happen to be people I know very well, for doing justice, doing what they do best all the time. Thank you so much. We learned a lot from UD. We learned a lot from my best friend, Mrs. Betty. And then we learned a lot from my brother. Tope, you know that if you hear anything, you don't enter one chance now, your wife I will call. Thank you very much for an amazing presentation. And thank you to all the section members, all the officials, and everyone that joined in. Thank you very much. It was really a very nice session. I picked up a lot of, I never knew about these 5 levels of leadership, actually. So I have work to do. Tope, I'll reach out. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Section Director. So I'm reading through the comments and I'm not sure we have any question. Please, for the final round, if you have any questions, you could just drop it. So I want to believe our 3 speakers did an amazing job. So before we round up, sir, Mr. Yudi, any final words since you have no questions?
Can I act?
Okay, sir. Please go ahead.
Okay. My question is directly to Mr. Temitope, but before the other speakers have a contribution, they can also add to it. So my own experience when I started my career, when I started working, I have not really worked under, directly under a mentor, like somebody that would mentor me. I worked under a HOD, but my job description is totally different from what other people were doing. So I was employed like the only one in that area, and I used my knowledge of the knowledge I had in school to be able to do the work. So after working there for some years, I got another job, and it also happened that I was still like the pioneer person there. So I also started building from the scratch. So, and I noticed that during this process, during this period, I had some other persons that joined me even in the first job and the second job. and I was like a mentor to them, and most of them learned through me. But sometimes when I think about my whole career, I still see that there's really no person in that field that's very close to directly that I can say, okay, let me even measure my progress, if I'm doing well or not. So my question is, I know that it is important to have a mentor, but are there implications of not having a mentor or a role model? That's my question.
Thank you very much. And let me ask you a question, right, so that you can answer. Let's assume you're an architect, okay? And as you have, the highest you have seen, whether in a picture or in your environment, is a 2-story building, and you are a very good architect. If you want to design your masterpiece, how many stories do you think it will be?
Well, I want to do something that's above 2-story.
Like how many stories?
But if I've only seen,
yeah,
no, but what you're saying, if I've only seen,
you've only seen two stories all your life.
Okay, if I've only seen 2-story, I want to try 3-story.
Exactly. Now, if you have been to places like Dubai that you have seen 50, 70-story buildings, and you're a very good architect, how many stories will you design?
So I would think of to design the highest, the tallest. That's what would be my mind.
Yeah, exactly. Have I answered your question already? So even when you design that 3-story building, because you have seen 2-story building before, you'll be happy that, man, I am good. People are doing 2-story around me and I just did 3. Or if you are able to expose yourself to where people are doing 70 stories already, you see the difference. So yes, that's it. That's just a simple answer to your question. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So so in this case, are you relating this to mentorship?
To everything,
like
to everything, whether it's a mentor, okay, whether it's a coach, whether it's training, whether it's speaking, whether it's personal improvement. Sometimes you can find mentors in your books. Sometimes you can find them online on YouTube. Sometimes your mentor, you might never ever meet them in your lifetime. Sometimes you might have the opportunity and privilege to meet them, but look for one.
Okay, thank you very much. I think the point here is and it must not be physical. It must not be like having a direct contact. I think that's another perspective. Thank you very much. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for that response. Okay, we have a question in the chat box from Engineer Mina to her bestie. Engineer Mina, I want to speak. Do you want to speak it out?
Okay, no, the question is different. It's a follow-up to Victor's question. He asked about having a mentor. And then I wanted to add, how about, can you have too many mentors?
So now it depends on what you want. And trust me, if you have a lot, you won't be able to get a lot from it. What I do is I have 2 to 3 at any point in time. And if I never know that I have outgrown my mentor, I move to another person, because it's possible to better your teacher. When I started speaking professionally, I had some people that are my teachers, right? But within a space of 6 months, some of them I outgrew them. Some of them I get events that they can never dream of now. So you can outgrow your mentor, but don't consume a lot at the same time. Just like a good example is what I gave Victor just now. So if you have a mentor that is 2 stories and you learn from that person and you build 3 stories, and the mentor is still building 2 stories, why should you go to the mentor? And if you have one that is doing 70 stories even, and you've outgrown that one that is doing 70 stories, then you need to look for another one. So it's a lifelong journey. You can never be the best every time.
Thank you.
Okay, Engineer Betsy, there was a question for you from Madam Mina.
There is a question.
Okay, go ahead, sir.
Okay, the question says, how should an executive react when his president is acting in a way he doesn't like, maybe in his way of reacting when the executive member fails to do tasks he was assigned. SPE has a hierarchy. There is a student chapter liaison at the section level. You're expected to escalate. You're not expected to start acting irrational, create chaos, be confrontational. But in the first place, you could first of all interact with the person, share the ideas that you're not pleased with the way he's reacting. And if it goes beyond you, escalate to student chapter liaison. And I'm sure at that level, it should be solved. If it does not get solved, I'm sure the student chapter liaison will take it to section chair. As well, also, thank you very much. Your faculty advisor is there also. So you have the hierarchy of principals to report to. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, we can see a comment from Engineer Shedrack. My opinion is on having too many mentors is to have mentors on various fields of life, business, engineering, politics, religion, etc. By doing so, you don't have too many mentors in one field of life. I don't know if our panelists agree with that. That's good to
hello,
go?
Akpan. Hello,
Yes,
Akpan.
sir.
Sorry, before you take that, I saw two questions that I can't see again. I think we have from Khalil and Madam Amina. So you don't miss those questions. We have two from Khalil.
Yeah,
so
there's a question for Engineer Betty on there.
Yes,
how does one manage emotions in the face of stereotyping?
Okay.
Okay. Thank you very much for that. I just want to say this. There are certain things that are within our circle of influence. Some things that we have control over, and things that we don't have control over. Stereotyping is one of the things that we don't have control over because it's a generalized good belief about certain people or certain things. So emotions, either positive or negative emotions, coming out from this group of people, behavior or things being said about them, it's for you to, first of all, deploy your social awareness that this is what it is. I don't have control over whatever that is happening or whatever that is being said, because it's something that has been said already. So what do you do in this? Somebody that is well consolidated with emotional intelligence is to be calm and be silent, or you live in the environment totally. If your comment is going to influence or irritate any of the members of the group. So advice, deploy your social awareness and your self-awareness that, you know that this is something that is going on, and it is a belief by the group that this is what they have adopted or what they believe in or what they are doing. Your contribution, contrary to what has been said, will not add any value to it. So the best thing, as someone that has control over his emotions, is to keep calm or keep silent. Or even if you have any contrary opinion, it is not at that very particular point that you start ending your view. So that's my answer to that. Thank you.
And Jamina, I want to believe that your question has been fully attended to.
Yes, thank you so much, Ma. Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, I want to believe it's all our questions for today.
No, there's Khalil. Khalil dropped a question before me, actually.
Okay, let's all log me out.
He was asking, how do you deal with a boss who is not performing? And it's directed to Engineer Tope.
I just saw that. Thanks, Khalil. So, you see, one of the things we need to know is that we cannot outshine our boss. One thing about leadership is this. On a scale of 1 to 10, if a leader is a capability, his output, his mental capacity is 6/10. And you are 8/10. You can't go beyond him. Each point you try to go is loss, is rule, is lackadaisical attitude. You keep eating it and you keep coming down. So as long as you are in such organization or such place, I can tell you that you either be one of two things, either frustrated or overwhelmed, right? And if it's an establishment that you cannot leave, you will need to cope with that boss to at least operate at his level. If not, you have issues with that person. You can try as much as possible to introduce the person one way by influencing them to let them see other organizations that are like yours or other departments are like yours that are doing better. But there's a high likelihood that they will not even learn from. They will not even want to learn because that is why they are like that in the first place. And Betty mentioned that sometimes there are some things you cannot do anything without. I call them predicaments, things that you need to live with, things that you need to manage. Okay. So while you are there, if it's not a place you can live easily, you will keep eating your head on their own bar. Try as much as possible, see if you can influence them. If you cannot influence them, know their limits, know their work style, and know that at any point in time, oh, this idea, it will not work in this organization. Oh, they will not change in this area. And you will know. That way, you don't kill yourself. You don't hit your head over things that you know that cannot change. I've been in positions like that before, and all I do is just calm down till the day I leave, okay? Some things cannot change. It is what it is. I've met people that have parents that are so bad, that treat them so bad, that no matter what they do, they know that parent will not change their bad behavior. They just need to be under them till 18 or 20 something to leave. So there are really some things you cannot change that are a predicament, but it's good when you can identify such, try to change them. If you know you can, find effective ways of living with it. Thank you.
Thank you, Engineer Temi, for
Engineer
that
Betty
response.
seems to have something to add.
Okay, my Engineer Betty, please go ahead.
Thank you very much, Tope, for that explanation. I just want to add to what you have said. There is this, I think, a book written by John Maxwell with 360 degree leadership, where he stated that you as a person, as an individual, must be able to manage even your boss. And then wearing the cloak of emotional intelligence, being humble, and then trying to find out what triggers his emotions, that and what are the things that are contributing to its non-performance, and then pulling you down as well. Most times, a lot of people have issues from home, marriages, and every other environment, every other factor that triggers unnecessary emotions that affect our performance. So if you as a subordinate is very, very conscious of your social and organizational awareness and your own self-awareness, you should be able to manage your boss and have a wonderful relationship with your boss that will even change him without him knowing that you're trying to change him. That's what I want to contribute.
Thank you, man.
Thank you. And I think we are not doing well with time, so we're going to wrap up with Engineer Shedrack, who is the YP chair. Engineer Shedrack, please, can we have your remark or your question? You can see your hand up.
Okay, mine is a question before remark, please. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Go ahead, sir.
Okay, thank you very much. My appreciation to the speakers. You've all done very well. But my question is directed to Madam Betty and also Engineer Temi. So the question I have for Madam Betty is, how does someone that has a line manager, who has a line manager that is kind of a bit difficult, he prefers things done his own way, even when things turn out to be bad because of his or her own recommendation. But he always insists that things are done his own way. And even when you give him some counsel that these are the options we can use, he or she will play you down. So how do we use such emotional intelligence to, convince the person or win the person over that our idea might be better than his or ours. Then to Engineer Temi, so in such a situation, how do we use this reverse psychology of these qualities of a good leader, bring it down to the quality of a good follower? What are the qualities of a good follower to convince our boss that I think this guy deserves to be heard at least? Let's hear him out, or let's try his ways or options. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much for that question. This is something that each and every one of us must be very, very conscious of. You see, there is something in every individual that attracts people to him or her, so or herself, that attracts people to him or to her. When you are very, very competent in what you're doing, knowledge is power. It's like a fragrance that's, nobody can resist. So if you have a line manager that is very, very difficult, something that you must be conscious of and you must be passionate about to develop is your capability. Like they say in Innovation Palace, there are 3 things that everybody look out for, which a lot of people miss out. Your head, which is the domain of your logical thinking, being very, very objective. And then your heart, where the emotions overrule what you do, and which enables you to relate directly with the customers to drive out their unsaid and spoken needs. And then the last and important one is your hand, and which they relate to your capability, your being able to do that work that sets you apart from others. Now, if you have a boss that is very, very difficult, most difficult bosses, what they require from you is results. And issues come up when you are not meeting your set targets or meeting his own set targets and aspirations. So what do? You work on yourself to make sure that you do the work, you use your hand, you use your heart, and you use your head to make sure that his aspirations are met 24/7. In short, I advise people, if you have a difficult boss, they are very, very vulnerable as well. Preempt him, understudy that your boss, and know what he or she wants at every particular time, and work towards exceeding his expectations. It's a lot of work. But the thing is that as you're doing that, once you build that track, you will see that boss melting and begin to trust you and getting you closer to himself because he knows that you can deliver. So that is the way to draw a difficult boss attention to yourself by proving your expertise in whatever that has been entrusted into your hands to do. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Engineer Betty. Yeah, Shadrach, Engineer Betty already answered your questions, really. There's little or nothing to add, but just to add my own 50 cents, right? It's already there. I mentioned it in passing when I spoke about a level of leadership. Level 3, production. Everybody likes results. And like I said, when you are winning, nothing odds. I've worked with someone that is not in Nigeria that told me, I don't like you, but I like your work. So even if the person is having the most difficult day, they don't have a choice other than to come to you. Okay, so productivity is one of the levels of leadership that we must need to attain fast. You have a position with this, your boss, of course, you have a job with the person, so that's a position. Permission, try as much as possible to know your boss outside of your work. No, everybody has dream. What is your boss's dream? If you can even help him on that dream, his dream might be to write a book in future. If you can help him realize that, that is a permission level you have with him. It will help you to move your leadership influence with him. Then your work, which is your primary thing, your production, try as much as possible to be productive. And this is what I tell people, right? You see, this leadership of a team, this personal development of a team, it is more cumbersome. It is more vigorous. It is bigger than having 10 PhDs. It's a lifelong learning. It's till infinity. You can't consume it. But a lot of us, we actually do little in reading and personal development and listening to people and going on trainings and all that. And even when we do, how much of it do we actually put into practice? Now, we've learned a lot from Betty today, from UD, from myself. How many of them have we actually truly going to put into practice? The moment you don't put it into practice before the end of the week, there is a high chance that you will never, ever practice it until you hear it again. And you may not hear it again this year. So no matter what you've heard today, pick one. If it's that productivity that you really want to increase it. If it's emotional intelligence you really want to increase and learn more about to work with people, read books, listen to videos on emotional intelligence, and use that one to relate with your boss. Start from somewhere. As you start, you'll be able to figure out the next step and the next step until you get there. Some of us that you see today, and you can see the personal development and leadership qualities that we have, it did not start in a day. So try as much as possible to start from somewhere and keep growing every day. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Engineer Shedrack, I hope that your question has been fully responded to. Engineer Betty, your hands, I believe is the former hand, or you still have a follow-up response?
Yeah, I just want to say to the sector chair and then to our section director, my friend Amina, please, all the students that attended this workshop today, I have a book on emotional intelligence, a small book, but it's targeted to the students, you know, so that by the time they graduate from school, they are well clothed and then equipped with the skills of emotional intelligence. So, Victor, when I come back, please, I will deliver this free to all the students that attended the workshop today. So please, just keep track me. I'll be back by first week of March, so that it will be delivered to the students. So for them to study, my plan or my goal is to enshrine emotional intelligence to the grassroots from primary school, and so that when they grow up in their they will begin to live a life of emotionally intelligent people without struggle. I have 4 children. By the time I was badged by Daniel Coleman as an emotional intelligence teacher, I started deploying it to my family members. And I will tell you, the last born was just 2 years old when I got this certified, and his character disposition is totally different from the 3. Totally different. So it's something that is that can be learned and can be that you can just consciously, you know, equip yourself with, and your life will be so joyful, and people will see it in you. So please, I'm donating this to all the students that attended this today. Please study it. It's not even up to 100 pages, but the content is huge. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ma. This is not the first time you are doing this. I remember when we went for an event through SP, you actually did donate, you donated a lot of books. Thank you very much, Ma. I think this is worth more than any amount of money you can you can donate to us. Thank you very much. And I also want to inform everybody, the board members and the students, that Madam Betty actually joined us in the morning, because she's not currently not in the country. So she joined us, I think, even before 8 a.m. So you can see how important this event is to us. So she was able to join us as early as possible from her location. That was why she kept saying good morning, good morning. So thank you very much, ma, for the opportunity to hear from you again. Thank you. So Akman, you just have to take note of the students. I'm sure their names are there, so just take note of them so that we'll get the books across. Thank you very much. So Akman.
Thank you so much. So we are running out of time. We'll switch gears immediately to have the vote of thanks. I can see so many thank you in the comments box, but of course, a section representative will be doing the vote of thanks. Speaking of the program's chair, we'd like to welcome Dr. Ikechi Okafor for his vote of thanks and closing remark. Doctor, the stage is yours, sir.
Okay, thank you, Akpan. Always a pleasure having great minds like this share their knowledge and experience with us. Thank you, Madam Betty Ugona. Thank you, Yudi. Thank you, Agatha. My hands are up. I actually just took time to listen and get so much of what was said today. And I mean, there's no mincing words. There's no better way to put it. This is amazing. And it's always a pleasure to share space with wonderful people like you. And I'm sure for our students, you know, you are getting this on a platter of gold. Many times, people like this, when they speak, people speak to listen for quite some huge amount of money. So we are very grateful to have them to us. The section is grateful. Our student chapters are grateful, and so we are extending our thank you to you. It was wonderful having you, and we look forward to another stage where we have you share your experience with us. Thank you from the Abuja section on behalf of section chair, section director, and every student member here represented, and every board member represented. We say thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Ikechukwu, for that. Well, we still request that all of our speakers still keep on their video on, because after this, we'll have a quick photo session. We'd like to also make the students understand that we have a 2-day training. This is the student skills development series, the first of its kind. It's a 2 days training on Excel data analytics for engineering students. Of course, you can see the topics to cover on the screen: data cleaning with Excel, data wrangling with Power Query, exploration data analysis, interactive dashboard projects, and multivariate machine learning integration with Excel. This event is in partnership, of course, with collaboration with TechPets Global Limited. Of course, a machine learning engineer from the organization will be doing justice to this for 2 days. The first day is Friday, 20th January, and then Saturday, 21st January, 4 o'clock to 6 o'clock. So please, the links will be shared. You can see the rec link on the screen. It will be shared in your different groups. So we advise all students to take part of this opportunity. And of course, we are still calling on our members, and of course, student members. I know it's free. For our board members, kindly renew your SPE membership. Of course, you see the screen there. Engineer Rume Ogole will always be there to guide you on how to renew your membership. This event and past events as live streamed on YouTube. You can always go back and refresh your memory. Just search Spe Abuja section 199 on YouTube, and the very last post will be this event. And then if you go down, scroll down, you see older technical sessions and events. Of course, we are active on all social media platforms: Spe Abuja on LinkedIn, on Instagram, on Twitter, on Facebook. And then, of course, you have the Spe Abuja section info@gmail.com for any kind of information you may have. The program's chair's email is there, so you can always send a DM where necessary. At this juncture, we say thank you for participating, and would like to have a group photograph. So please, from wherever you're joining, kindly turn on your video. Let's have a snapshot. Thank you. Kindly turn on your video. Let's have a snapshot of everyone in the call. Of course, for the students that will receive the book due to the benevolence of Engineer Betty. We have those that already start. We have the names of those that already start. We'll definitely send the books across to you. So please turn on your video cameras. We can see our section chair. We can see
Apan, don't forget I'm a student too. I said, don't forget I'm a student.
Farouk. Please turn on your. Oh, ma. Okay, we send the book to you. Yes, you just heard. We heard. We'll send one to you, ma. So please turn on your videos. When I say SPE, you say oil and gas. SPE.
Oil and gas.
Okay, we're still waiting for more people to turn on their videos. I can see Abdul Rafi, the alternate secretary. Thanks for joining, sir. We see you, sir. Okay. Thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up. Seems thumbs up. SPE.
Oil and
Gas.
Oil and
Okay.
gas.
Thank you, thank you. So we can network for the next 3 minutes, and after 3 minutes, I will end the call. So 3 minutes, please interact and network. Thank you.
Yeah,
I'm in the house now.
Hello.
I'm fine. How are you, ma?